Hey, good evening, Crime Crunchies. Thank you much. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Courtney C. I am your host, a 27-year veteran of the media, and I am so happy to be able to bring you Crime Crunchies. Wow. After last night, I spent pretty much all day going down a freaking rabbit hole on these people. We watched a new channel, to me, Criminally Obsessed, and we watched a private investigator in an interview about who he has been investigating, and he was hinting at a couple suspects, and it's like, who is this? Mentioned that they had been at least one of the suspects had been detained, and it's like, okay, well, we know 3 people who have been detained, and one of them was a mother. And a lot of folks in the chat started talking about someone named Zach, and it's like, who's Zach? I think I missed something. So today was all about Zach Day, and we're going to go back. We're going to take a look at a little bit about the interview with the investigator. We're going to take a look at who Zach is and what the connection is. So let me share my screen, and while I do that, please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that bell. Okay, so we're going to start with just a few minutes. We're not going to watch the whole video, but this is Bill Garcia being interviewed by the host of Criminally Obsessed, and I've skipped over to the part where Bill starts talking about his suspect. And just for anyone who wasn't on last night, Bill Garcia is a private investigator who, for free, spent 6 days in Tucson doing his own investigation. He's got a lot of years under his belt searching for people, and he's going to be going back. So hopefully he gets something, but let's listen to him talk about who his suspects are.
There's not a lot of evidence to look at. There's not a lot of leads. I normally will handpick a team that is appropriate for the type of searches that we're going to do. In this particular case, I've got 2 subjects that have been helped.
And really quick, we're actually starting where he talks about how he has used AI to unmask Porch Guy, and that kind of gets us into the suspect. So let's watch just a few minutes.
And like I said, we're a team. One of the team members was able to demask the person at the front door. And once they were able to do that, they were able to actually establish an actual person. Pima County detectives asked our team member to explain to them how they were able to decipher who the person was, and actually asked our team member to instruct them, to show them how they did it. And this is over the course of 3 or 4 phone calls with detectives. And the other team member has some really specialized skills that a lot of people are not really aware of. The type of ability was used by intelligence agencies here in the U.S. during the Cold War. And I'm convinced that this person is able to lead us in a more definitive direction, especially now that we have a potential subject to look at.
Basically, one of your team members was able to, in essence, through technology, very successfully demask who the suspect was. And then that person who you believe the suspect is, you were able to sort of track that person down. And then as you were able to track that person down, you were able to learn what the motive or the ability would be for that person to abduct Nancy.
That's correct. Well, we know that this person has spent some time in the Tucson area and has indicated that he has not been in the United States since 2019. But our research learned that he was here until shortly after Nancy disappeared. We've learned a lot about this person, both through social media, through other sources. We understand he was with the military in his particular country at some point. We know where he had been working. There's some connection there to this supposed group of people. They like fine things. They like gambling. They like the finest coffees, the finest vehicles, extravagance. And that kind of led us to some particular areas to take a look. And so I feel confident that we're on the right track. And I feel that both local and FBI law enforcement are aware of the subject because they've detained him at one point. I just don't know that they were ready to actually arrest him at that time, because there is a certain amount of time that you can hold someone before you have to charge them or let them go. And as in many other cases, even though they have a strong belief that a particular subject has conducted the crime, they release them thinking they can keep track of them. My suspicion is that this person traveled almost 300 miles to leave the country from a very remote international airport that we've been taking a look at. And
so this is Bill Garcia. He's a private investigator who is being interviewed by the host of Criminally Obsessed. And I'm just going over a little bit of the part where he's talking about a suspect that he has identified. And then we're going to go into the suspect that he's talking about. And that was my rabbit hole I spent today doing. So I will continue.
Taking a look at that area. And I think once all the chips are on the table, we're going to find that we were on the right path.
Do you have access to anything that would help you find out if there was a passenger who left that airport at that time?
We don't in the United States. We have asked for that. And in Mexico, it's fairly simple, believe it or not. You can get name and flight information. And we've done that through our contacts with the Missing and Abducted Person organization. The problem is if they didn't stop in Mexico and they continued on to the country we believe they went to, there would be no record in Mexico.
Do you have a firm understanding of why Nancy Guthrie, I know her daughter's Savannah, we've all thought all along that could have something to do with it, besides just the wealth of someone who is a celebrity. Do you understand why it would be Nancy Guthrie?
I don't completely understand why Nancy. I know that this was targeted. Once I went to Nancy's home, and I was lucky enough to go there on the day that law enforcement had cleared everybody off the street. They had put barricade signs up. So it gave me an opportunity to quietly look at the location and understand that this had to be a targeted
Very
event.
targeted. I agree.
You can't randomly pick someone like this out of that type of neighborhood. It just would be impossible.
And I agree. So I think we've gotten kind of the gist of the subject, which I'm going to go into, but I completely agree. The minute I went to Nancy's house in Tucson, it's just not random. Her house is so hidden. There's just no way it was random. It was very targeted. So I completely agree with him. And we're going to go down the rabbit hole now. So please hold on to the bar. So Mr. Bill is what I now believe, and people were saying in the chat last night, I had not heard of this person. Yes, Zach. And I found Zach was on JLR Investigates, and I actually stopped watching JLR. I'm not a big fan of JLR, and it has really, and I appreciate what he did. He was there in front of Nancy's house, and I appreciate that. And he's done a lot of coverage. I don't know. I'm just not sure that he's doing it for the same reasons I would be doing it. That's all I'll say. I'm not sure if he's doing it for what I would consider the right reasons. All right. But regardless, he was there. And JLR, this is from, I believe, yesterday or a day ago. So we've got JLR here on the left. Captain Kevman, he's from Oklahoma, near and dear to my heart, Okie-land, USA. And then here is Zach Jahoob. I hope I'm saying that right. So Zach is what it sounds like now, having listened to this interview on JLR, Bill Garcia, the private investigator, exactly described this Zach person. Okay. Zach is in Jordan now. And I was wondering if that was real or not. But in this interview, which I don't know that we're going to watch that much of it, but he literally gets out of the car and walks for JLR and Kevin and another person who comes on this podcast. And he walks and, you know, his body shape, it's hard to tell on the body shape. He looks a little chubbier than Porch Guy. Did he gain weight just for that reason? I don't know. Does he have kind of the arched eyebrows? Yes, he does. Bill Garcia is stating that this person claims they haven't been in the U.S. since 2019, but he's saying he has proof that the suspect was in the U.S. shortly after or around the time Nancy was kidnapped. So I don't know. I certainly don't want to accuse somebody of something that they haven't done. But there's an entire link with Zach and MG Motors, which is the car dealership that supposedly sold Luke Daly and his mother the Range Rover that had been confiscated when Luke Daly and his mother was detained. I have not seen anything showing that Zach was detained. And if he's not in the U.S., how could he have possibly been detained? So I'm not sure where Bill Garcia is getting that information, but I don't know. This Zach has been on the radar actually since February 21st, apparently. And I mean, I'm definitely late to the ball on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and now this is mid episode with JLR, but they somehow got with Alex, one of the YouTubers that had been arrested, and were able to get Zach's contact and got Zach to come on. And here's Porch Guy. And Porch Guy to me looks like he's got pretty wide eyes. I mean, he's got almond shaped, kind of roundish eyes. I don't know. So let's just watch this interview for a while. I don't know how long I'm going to play it for, but and you're right, Joe. I mean, is there a there? I don't know if there's a there, but it's very interesting. And like I said, I'm late to the ball, but let's watch this. I'll shut up now.
What exactly is it dealing with?
So you can see in the light, it almost looks like perhaps the victim, maybe Nancy,
I think I lost my spot,
being hit or struck by a different individual and maybe dragged. But you can
hold on.
If you look at it's like the reflection of the light fixture above. Juice was looking
criminally obsessed.
All right,
and
here we go.
You know, he's saying that
this is Zach down on the bottom here on the left.
Involved here, you know, moved out of the country in 2019, similar to what you said. You know, you got out in 2019, and what else did he say? Did you hear, Kev? Like other things that was implying that it was Zach, but without saying it was Zach.
Sort of talking about the flight and all that stuff. So
the flights
out of the country, but he knows in fact that the person is in this country or has been in this country since 2019.
Yeah. And that's why I made the comment, and Zach even brought it up about his passport stamps and all that stuff. So maybe you can explain something if you want to talk about that, Zach. So you was going to say something.
Yes, there's a YouTube for 4 or 5 hours. You can see it with a guy. His name Jennifer. No, not Jennifer. To be honest, I forget his name. He's a nice guy. I showed all my passports. I showed all my stamps. I showed that I left that country 2019. I'm not there anymore.
That was Sleuth's Intuition.
It's not there now.
Huh?
Was that the YouTube whenever you went with Sleuth's Intuitions, or didn't you go on his show on the YouTube channel? It doesn't matter, but I was just asking because
pretty much you were in the country of an alibi, a rock solid alibi.
Yeah, and it's like what I was saying, you know.
What, brother?
So
what?
Let me ask you something. You know, people are, you know, because this is the perp here on the guy. I think people, some people think that you're involved here is because the mustache that you have, the goatee that you have there, and everything like that. Can you just share how tall you are? How tall are you?
I'm 176 centimeters. I mean, 5.8.
5'8".
I
Yeah.
think so.
How much you weigh?
How
In
much
pounds.
what?
How much you weigh in pounds? Like pounds.
Oh, in pound. I don't know in pound, but now I'm 105 kilo. No,
Somebody said that was about 230 pounds.
pound.
Kilo. Yeah.
105.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
105
know. I don't know
pounds.
exactly in pound.
You'd be skinny as heck.
Yeah, and
We're going to continue with this, but if he had nothing to do, or if he is guilty, let's say he is Porch Guy, why would he do these YouTube shows if he's in Jordan? What does he benefit from? So I don't know. The jury's out.
I saw you talking before. I guess people have been saying that it's you, and you said you were going to start suing people that claim that it was you or something like that. I heard an interview at one point, maybe like a month or two ago. You were talking to a YouTuber saying you're tired of people blaming you.
Yes, there's too much people they talk shit about me. They all these information, it's wrong, it's not right, and they don't have any proof that I did that thing. They want to talk about Zach. So why? So no, he have a apartment next to her house. I left the apartment a long time ago, guys. Long time ago. I doesn't know. They said your mail still going there. Okay, so what? But I left the country. I don't know where is my mail.
I get mail from people that don't even live at my house or have never lived here. I'm just saying.
Yes,
Why did you leave the country? Just
when I used to live there, the previous tenant, I get his mail to my mail.
Why'd you leave the country? Go to Jordan. Is that where you're originally from?
Yes, I'm originally from Jordan. Yes, that's right.
And then you came over to the United States and started work. You got family in the States, or just is any of your family?
Now?
Yeah.
Now or that time you mean? No. Now I don't have
anytime.
No. Now, yes, my family American, my wife American, my kids Americans.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you a dual citizen? Are you a dual citizen? Okay.
No.
No, I appreciate you coming on. It is interesting that you said that when you called them to kind of clear the air, they never really called you back or inquire. You would think that FBI would be out there wherever you're at and polygraphing you or into putting you in an interrogation room or something like that. And you're saying that never happened?
No, never happened. There's people said the FBI took me and they took a sample for a DNA and these stuff. All this shit not happened. How are they gonna do that? I'm not living there, and they knows I'm not living there. They know that I lived 2019.
How do you say your last name? Jacob?
Jacob. Yes, Jacob.
Jacob. Are you Jordanian?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Jordanian. I've ran across a lot of people, Jordanians, over the years from the Middle East. Muslim? Muslim?
Yes, I am Muslim.
Kev, anything?
What is it?
No. I'm asking Kev if he has anything.
So you say you had...
I'm asking why he would come on these shows. I mean, we've talked so many times about these ransom notes, and it's very clear that whoever has sent in these ransom notes wants attention. I mean, let's just say that Zach is allegedly Porch Guy. Maybe he loves this attention. Maybe he is, a fame star chaser. I don't know, but I mean, maybe.
You have family here besides your wife and all that stuff. What brought you to the US?
I don't have. What brought me to US?
Yeah.
My family, my wife.
His wife.
Well, I mean, so you've always been married. Your wife's a U.S. citizen. You've been married before you ever came to the U.S.
Yes.
I didn't know if you came here to go to school or a job or a work visa type thing. What brought you to the United States originally
No,
to meet your
that
wife?
time-
Unless you
that
didn't
time
meet her.
I used. No, I get married 2014, but I moved
Okay.
to US 2016. But I stayed for 2 months and I left back. Then I go back to US
Okay.
because
You
I
miss
saw
the United States? Do you miss the United States?
because huh?
Do you miss the United States?
Yes, of course I missed it.
Why don't you come back?
Yeah. Why don't you come back?
Why? The first thing, my family doesn't like over there. She doesn't like the US. Here it's way safer than US. This is the first thing. The second thing, that I have business, I have work, I have stuff to do here. This is the second thing. The third thing, I lived Dubai before. I lived US before the pandemic, 2019, and I'm not a US citizen. So
He just made a little faux pas. He said he left Dubai. And then he said, I left Dubai. Oh, no, I meant I left the US. And that could indicate dishonesty. The fact that he said twice, I left Dubai, before he changed it to, I left US. He had not mentioned Dubai at all. So that honestly tells me that he could have left Dubai and come back to the United States in February. So this is indicating to me that he's being dishonest. I'm just going to, I can scoot this back a second, because he just said, I left Dubai. It sounds to me like, honestly, he just slipped up, and I'm not pointing fingers at him. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. He said, I left Dubai. That tells me he left Dubai, came to US. He's mixing up his stories. I'm going to just go back just a squeak. See if I can just go back a squeak. I wish I could go back like 10 seconds. All right, let me see if I can get it.
Do you miss the United States?
yes, of course I missed it.
Why don't you come back?
Yeah. Why don't you come back?
Why? The first thing, my family doesn't like over there. She doesn't like the US. Here it's way safer than US. This is the first thing. The second thing, that I have business, I have work, I have stuff to do here. This is the second thing. The third thing, I lived Dubai before. I lived US before the pandemic, 2019,
He left Dubai.
and I'm not a US citizen, so I'm a green card holder. When I left, and when you leave for a long time ago, long time, so you can't go back. You need to do the whole process from the beginning.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I got to go through the whole process. Plus, there's a change of administrations now.
Yes.
You know, so it probably makes it even harder.
So you can't go back to US, because I lived US more than 2 years. If you live the US more than 2 years without any reason, so they're gonna tell you like your green card is canceled.
I just want to say, I believe you. This is not like an
I believe you
interrogation.
too.
Yeah, and I don't know what the rules are about coming back and forth. Let me see if I can. I'm going to fast forward here to where he gets out of the car, because somebody joins him and asks him to walk, and it's really worthless. But he does look chubbier. Let me see if I can get this. Someone joins and says, "Can you get out and walk?" All right, so let's watch
Yeah,
this.
Bill Garcia, right? Bill, is his name Bill
Bill,
Garcia?
yes.
Bill or
No, I don't know him.
Well, I mean, he's been brought up a long time ago, and it sort of, in the beginning of all that stuff, but it wasn't brought up recently until this stuff just came out with this investigator who's who's bringing back up Zach.
Well, and I want to point out, Gigi, each, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not convinced that originally I wasn't convinced that Porch Guy wasn't white. So I have absolutely nothing to do with the color of the skin. Porch Guy could totally be white. And I'm going down this rabbit hole tonight because this has kind of been the buzz. And I want to know. I want to know what's going on. All right, so let me skip forward and see if I can get where he's getting out of the car. Let's see. All right.
Tired there on the ground or something, and then just walk away and then walk back towards the camera should be fine. I mean,
he's going to set
if that's what you want to do. Again, this is only if you want to do any of this stuff, Zach.
I think he's muted. You're muted, Zach.
Yeah.
Now we can't hear you.
He's connected to the car.
I think your microphone's mute. It's mute.
Yeah, your mic's on mute. Just press the button.
He's probably still connected to his car. There you go.
No.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Zach, you're a team player, buddy.
No.
You're doing good.
This is the thing. I mean,
Okay, here we
he's
go.
willing to prove
Here we
anything
go.
anybody
He's gonna
asks.
walk.
What you start to, yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna walk right now, but can you see me very well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Perfect. Go for it.
Everything that I'm stupid, like I think the people. I'm in full.
I mean, he's a little pigeon-toed.
Yeah, no. You have a good gait, buddy. You're good.
You don't look like you got the perp walk. Yeah.
Perp isn't that
Yeah,
short.
the perp, it's hard to say. I don't think he is. I mean, I'm just going to say, Zach does not look like Porch Guy to me. I pulled up some pictures of Porch Guy, and let me just do my entire screen. So here's Porch Guy. And Porch Guy has it's almost like his little eyebrows are really like waxed and very manicured. All right. And his eyes are really round. The left tip of the eyebrow, it's almost like they're pretty close. The two eyebrows are close together, almost like he could have a unibrow behind this mask. And then the right edge of his eyebrow goes right over his eye. And again, his eye is pretty oval. And I just want to be clear. This could be a white person. I'm not saying this is a brown person. I'm not going there. This could fully be a white person. Okay. We don't know, but his eyebrows look very manicured. And when we look at Zach, now his eyes, his eyebrows look pretty manicured as well, but the right edge of his eyebrow goes past the edge of his eye. And it looks like his eyebrows kind of a little bit thinner, sparser, at least in this picture in the middle. And his right eyebrow it looks like there's like more hair on the bottom than the top. So, it's hard to tell, but to me, the eyes do look shaped different. And that's just my opinion. And I don't know that watching Zach walk is going to give us any answers, because he was walking, kind of fast, and, it's hard to say. Okay, so Joe's saying, so according to the PI, he traveled through Mexico and flew out of another. Oh, kitty, so shy. Okay. Woman, the mask shapes your face. That is his same eyes. Freak. Also same body and lips. That's awesome. Same eyes, freak. I'm glad. I am a freak. I like that. That cracks me up. Okay. So let's look at, I mean, it could be the same eyes. I mean, it's hard to say. You know, he's doing a pose here. It's hard to say, but again, why would he come on these shows? Does he want attention? Is he behind the notes? Is he educated? Can he write, the notes? Is it something where he was in Dubai and got offered a deal to make money with a wrench attack? All right, so I pulled up Reddit, man driving Range Rover. So this is a man driving Range Rover. This is Luke Daly right here. Okay, Luke Daly and his mother were detained at Culver's. And so someone said they were talking about, someone wrote in a TikTok chat yesterday, they said he had made Instagram comments on Savannah's post last Christmas and Al Roker's, but I haven't seen them personally. And I think she's talking about Luke. But then somebody says here, look at his teeth. He has a gap. The Ring video also shows a gap in the front teeth. And I just looked right now and Zach has a gap in his front teeth. So let's see if we can see any teeth in Porch Guy. Porch Guy teeth. I don't know if it's going to give me the right stuff. I don't want to spend a lot of time. Of course, everything's going to be goofy. Okay. So Luke Daly is the one that was detained. And Bill Garcia, the private investigator, states that the suspect that he refers to as being in the military, Zach was in the military in Jordan. That's what caught me up last night because I couldn't find anything. Now, they did not go to jail. They were detained, meaning they just got questioned. Okay. Luke Daly and his mother got detained, not arrested. So supposedly Zach was in the military in Jordan, which is what Bill Garcia is saying. Some of the characteristics of what Bill Garcia, the private investigator, is saying is one of his suspects that he unmasked with his AI friend was detained, but this person claimed that they were not in America since 2019, and yet they have proof that he was, and that this person could have driven 300 miles to fly out of an international airport. And I can tell you, I mean, there are airports in Mexico that you can fly out of. So they're saying Yuma. So Kayla Day not in jail no more. Has anyone checked? I think she gets out in October. What did Kayla Day do? What did Luke Daly's mom, Kayla Daly, what did she do? Coral Smith, the other kidnapper chick, she got arrested and is being held on $250,000 bond. Okay, so the dealership behind this whole thing is MG Motors in Tucson. This is supposedly where the Range Rover was purchased by Luke Daly and his mother. And I think that the crux of this is that Zach supposedly was working at this dealership when he was not supposed to be in the US. And so is it possible that there's something to do with this Range Rover? What's the link? Was the Range Rover in Zach's name at one point? and Luke Daly had not done the registration yet, so the Range Rover was in Zach's name, and they were looking for Zach. I'm just brainstorming here. Somehow, let's just say if Zach was in the country and they thought it was Zach, maybe he had a phone that pinged at Nancy's house. That's one way of how they could have caught him being there. They know he works at this dealership. If the car was in Zach's name for whatever legal reason, I'm brainstorming, okay? Don't come at me. I'm theorizing here. It's all speculation. I'm just trying to figure out how they ended up to Luke Daly. If Luke and his mother purchased that Range Rover, like within a day or two, they would not have had the registration. They probably hadn't gone to the DMV or the tag agency yet. So the vehicle could have been in maybe Zach's name. That's what I'm thinking, Dee Dee. If he likes nice cars and coffee. And I want to add that in the JLR video, he is sitting in a Kia, but it looks like fully like tech. It's like a really nice Kia. He's sitting in a car that's got all the little gadgets and screens and everything. And, you know, if he is behind this and maybe he's connected to the ransom notes, again, the person who sent the ransom notes to TMZ wanted attention. That you're not going to send a ransom note to TMZ unless you want attention on a global scale. And if this, I'm just saying, allegedly, if Zach is the dude, if he's coming on these shows, he might like attention. And in this interview, Zach asked JLR when JLR was boots on the ground during the whole media mess around Nancy's house. JLR picked out Zach somehow and went past Zach's apartment building. And Zach asked JLR why he went past his old apartment. So someone's got something. I don't know how these people get information. I have to think that because JLR has such a wide audience and was there for so long, I have to think that people knew things and reached out to JLR with this information. There's no way you're going to get this information unless somebody's reaching out to you with this information. And yes, Derek C. did text Tommaso. We're trying to figure out how that links into all this. Does Zach and Derek C. know each other? Is there a connection? We believe Derek knows Tommaso through the band scene. So this seems very tangled, but I don't know. I'm theorizing that when JLR was boots on the ground in Arizona for that month before everybody left, I think somebody went to JLR with information about Zach. Because JLR went past Zach's apartment, and I know this for a fact because Zach asked him in this interview, why'd you go past my apartment? I don't even live there. And Zach might feel safe because, yeah, he's in Jordan now and it's country and he feels safe. But if there is something on Zach, allegedly, and there is a there, I'm sure that they can bring him back, especially if his wife is from Tucson. So the MG Motors is the tie-in with the Range Rover. It would make sense that the Range Rover was linked to Zach somehow and then sold to Luke Daly. Luke Daly had and you know, there's GPS in all those cars. So it wouldn't be very difficult if they're looking for Zach to get a location on the car and the car is sitting at Culver's. And they're like, here's the dude. Let's go get the dude. And then they swat Luke Daly, hold him and his mother, and they realize, shit, we've got the wrong guy. And it's very possible that Zach was completely full of poo-poo doo-doo on this interview. It's hard to say. But I'm gonna definitely continue down this whole path. But at this point, I would say Luke Daly is probably 1 or 2 degrees separated from this, because I think he just happened to have purchased that car. I think he's just the unlucky guy who purchased the car. And if anything, and I'm going to look to see if there's any pictures of Porch Guy with a gap between his teeth, because I was just looking at Zach. Zach has a gap between his front teeth. So we do need to, I'm going to see if there's I'm going to watch the video of Porch Guy and see if I can find him with a gap between his teeth. So Bill Garcia also mentioned that he believes that whoever took Nancy would have gone north. They would not have gone south. He thinks the Nogales link with the, the killing field, the unmarked graves or whatever, he thinks that's just a nothing burger. I can specifically tell you, because I drove in from Phoenix, which is north of Tucson. It's easier to go north and avoid any major streets getting to Nancy's house than it would be to go south. Because yes, he would have to drive probably a different route or go through, would be more visible, because where Nancy's house is, it's kind of on the northern side of Tucson. And so when you leave Nancy's house and you go through the streets, yes, you might get caught by cameras. But if you get on I-10 and go north, you're less likely to get caught by cameras than if you go to I-10 and go south through Tucson. You're more likely to get caught by cameras. So I can absolutely confirm that logic of what Bill Garcia is saying. So taking Nancy north would definitely, it's not going to preclude you from cameras, but it's going to decrease the amount of cameras. Do I have 857 Tucson in here? Hi, 857 Tucson. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so again, I don't know. Allegedly, Zach could be Porch Guy. I'm going to, again, see if I can find the teeth. But again, JLR, a lot of people know him. And I would think that somebody may have had inside information and found him. And it wouldn't be hard because everybody was living on that street. And that's how I would have to imagine that he found Zach's address and went past his apartment. And yeah, MG Motors, there's something, this must be the proof. I'm thinking that, oh, Zosha, the crime fighting kitty. Okay. I'm thinking that the MG Motors might come into play because that could be the proof that Zach was in Tucson if he had employment at MG Motors. And, the fact also that in JLR's, in this interview, when I think Zach screwed up. Zach, he caught himself in a lie. And again, he mentioned that he was talking about why he isn't in the US now. And he said, I left Dubai. No, I left the US. And that tells me that the truth of the matter is he may have been in Dubai, which is the truth. And maybe he left Dubai and came to the US. And that's what he was starting to say. He caught himself and said, no, I left the US around COVID. And maybe he did leave the US around COVID or in early 2020. But the fact that okay, so how your brain works is when you recall memories, your brain is like a computer, but it recalls memories in order. Okay. If you're just talking and you're recalling memories and you're sharing memories verbally, you're going to repeat a story in order of events, in the order that they occur. He was listing off 3 things of why he isn't in the US right now. And the third thing he was recalling, and in his recall, which again, your brain's not going to lie, your mouth's going to lie. His brain said, I left Dubai. No, I left the US after COVID and went back to Jordan. And he couldn't go back because of his green card or the visa. But here's the deal. That was a lie. He caught himself because his brain was racking up the memory and was recalling in the order it happened. The truth is he left Dubai and went back to the United States. And he caught himself recalling a story that's not the story he's supposed to be telling. Oh, wait, the story I'm supposed to be telling is I left the US around COVID. And he caught himself because he was telling a lie. Oh shit, I screwed up my story. And again, your brain recalls memories in order in which they happened. And when you're lying, it's harder to keep things straight. And that's why when people get detained, they keep them for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. And what they do is a method is they ask them to go through their story over and over and over again. Because again, if you're recalling memories from your brain and you're telling the truth, the story is going to stay the same throughout, even if you're asked 100 times, because your brain recalls the order in which things happen. And investigators will also take an opportunity to try to catch you up, and they'll change the order in which your story is going. They'll skip forward. And if you're telling a lie, that's where they catch you up. And you can't, if you've got a story in your head and it's not the truth, it's harder for you to remember, oh yeah, this is my point. That's how they catch you in lies, is they ask you over and over again. If your story changes, then you're lying. If your story is the same and they try to catch you up and they change the order of way things happen, or they jump forward in time and you come back and your story changes, they know you're lying. If you're telling the truth and they catch you up and they go forward, fast forward, you're going to remember, oh no, that's when this happened. So I honestly believe that when he's talking about that, the 3 reasons why he didn't come back to the US, I do believe that that's a lie. I'll see if I can find it again, and if we can, let me see. Because it is worth watching. Can you guys hear that? Let me re-add it. All right, let me re-add it. All right. So is he left-handed? Right now in this video, he's only showing us his left hand. He's got this big watch on, and I don't know if the scar is on his right hand. There's supposedly a scar on his right hand, and in this video, we never see his right hand. I'd like to point that out as well.
And then you came over to the United States and started work. You got found
in Arizona and Tucson for 3 years.
Let's just watch.
Yes.
And then
What made you pick Tucson? Is that where?
So pay attention to this. In a few minutes, they're going to ask him why he doesn't come back to the United States. He's going to list 3 reasons, and on the 3rd reason, he's going to say, "I left Dubai. I left Dubai. No, I left the United States." Listen to that, because that is where you know he's telling a story and he's being dishonest. All right, so let's watch it.
Is that where your wife's from, Tucson?
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering. I mean, I was like, as hot as it is down there, granted, you know, I understand over the Middle East, it's a little bit hotter than what we're used to. It's a different kind of heat and all that stuff. So, you know, I guess it has the same characteristics as the Middle East in desert and the environment there. So that's why I was asking that question. You know,
Did you live in any other places? Did you live in any other places in the States, like any other cities or any other states?
Than Tucson?
And in the United States, did you live anywhere else?
Did you get to go see other places than just Tucson? Yeah.
Yes. I lived in Miami for a little bit, Florida. That's it.
That's where I'm from, Florida. I live in Florida.
Oh, it's a nice state.
I know. I can't. I don't know which one I like better, Florida or Arizona, because Arizona got some nice sunsets.
I liked Miami because I used to live in Dubai from 2009 for a long time because
so he did say he used to live in Dubai. So he did just say that he lived in Dubai, but again, he's recalling an order of when he's traveling. So let's just watch.
Because of my job. So it's kind of like Dubai, but Miami it's way beautiful than Dubai, because Dubai it's a fake city.
It is.
Did you get me? But Miami, it's a natural. There's nice places. It's not fake.
The culture and all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do for a living? What type of work?
Oh, a couple stuff.
Like
stuff.
What? Yeah.
Like sell cars, maybe? Do you sell cars?
A drug dealer, are you? No drug dealing?
No, I'm not that guy. I'm not that
international one.
You look like a jewelry guy.
No. I mean, I'm not that kind of people. They doing bad stuff. I'm not. I'm a good guy, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Businessman.
Yes.
Somebody asked.
We can tell by the watch. You got the bling watch on.
Do you know Annie and Tommaso?
I love watches.
Oh,
the big ones.
His hands are kind of beefy too, and Porch Guy had kind of beefy hands.
Was that a Rolex?
No.
Nice.
It's not. No, Rolex. It's not coming. Rolex not making any big watches. It's only small watches. Expensive, yes, but I don't like small watches. It's only big watches.
Do you know Annie and Tommaso? Annie and Tommaso. Do you know those names? Do you know Annie and Tommaso? Annie and Tommaso.
Yeah.
I hear these names. What these names? Who's these?
Annie is Nancy's daughter, and Tommaso is the son-in-law. So Annie and Tommaso are married. They live nearby. Do you know them in any way?
No.
You didn't actually. You actually are like, I know these names, or I never heard these names, but I don't know these people.
No, because they asked me before in the last interview. A couple people they asked me about these names.
That's what I was going to ask. Is sort of the same thing. I've heard you say it from other interviews, so I'm going to ask the question here. Do you know Luke Daly?
In person?
Yeah.
No. I don't know him. I know one thing about him, that he bought the car from MG Motors. That's it. Like me, like you, like JLR. You know that guy with his mom bought that car from MG Motors. That's it.
How does he know
and
that?
I saw his face. on social media. That's it.
Never talked to him or nothing.
Never.
Did you call MG Motors to ask them what's up and why your name's being thrown there?
MG Motors, the owners is my friends.
So what are they saying? Okay, go ahead.
In the beginning, they told me, hey, listen, just don't ask questions and don't do anything. These people out there, they talk too much. That's why in the beginning I didn't say anything. But after that, when the things, get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like that time.
That's too coincidental. How did he happens to know the guys at MG Motors that Luke Daly, who got swatted and detained, and he's just some random guy. I mean, he does have a connection with Tucson, but I mean, that is a coincidence. And this is all speculation and just alleging. I'm just going down the rabbit hole. I'm not accusing this guy. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with Nancy.
I need to do something. I need to do any interview to clear my name, right? Because if I'm gonna stay in.
So he said that he was asked questions. Oh, on another interview, I was thinking maybe he got asked questions. Was he detained or was he given a phone interview by law enforcement? Because Bill Garcia specifically states that who he describes as Zach was detained, but detained over the phone and asked questions. Because being questioned is almost the same as being detained. You're just being questioned. You're being interviewed. You're being investigated. You're not, and people are questioned when they're completely innocent.
Hiding and don't say anything about what happening, the people gonna still think that I did that thing, right?
Right.
That's why I did couple interviews to clear my name.
And that's exactly what I was saying. As soon as you came on and you had to come back in and stuff, and I'm telling people, the guy is willing to come on and express, answer any questions and all that stuff. So that right there in itself, we see a lot of people who are not willing to even be asked questions because we don't know if they're afraid of the questions that's going to be asked. And so for me, and I'll tell you right here, right now, I'll tell the world, everybody that's watching, for me, talking to you, seeing you here on camera and interacting with you, I don't have no doubt in my mind that you were involved in this. That's just me.
Agree. I agree because I'm just the things that you're saying, the fact that they didn't call you back, you're claiming you haven't been in the country, right there. I mean, how unless people out there, unless somehow. Let me ask you something about the motors with the car. Has authorities contacted them? Did the FBI or authorities contact your friends at the motor company?
You mean MG Motors?
MG Motors, yeah.
Yes. Then the next day in the morning, the authorities they went to MG Motors to ask about the owner of that car. They asked about the documents. Of course, they're gonna do that. But they didn't mention my name. They didn't ask about me. Everything happening or happened before, it's only the people talking about my name, talking about Zach. Okay. Do you know why that happened? The people saw on the pictures that night, they saw MG Motors plate holder. There's a plate holder, right?
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Tag bracket.
You know it, right? Yes, that one.
On the car.
Okay, they saw MG Motors, so they went to Google or anything. They search for MG Motors. They went to the social media accounts for MG Motors. They found a car, a Range Rover. It's a Vogue. It's not a Sport. It's not the same car. And they saw Zach liked a normal like
Right.
you're doing likes on social media, right?
Yeah. I see it
They
all the
saw,
time.
yes, they saw my name on Instagram. They saw my name, that I like that car, like the picture, like the post, and this is a normal thing. So I saw a couple comments on the same post that they telling each other that, hey, listen, Zach liked that car, so he did it. Oh, what the hell do you stupid guys?
So we got a comment here. Cheryl, don't take offense to this, but she said, is he willing to do a DNA testing to clear his name?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yes? DNA testing? She's just saying
yeah,
that.
no problem. They tell them to send it, I will send it. No problem. If they want it, they ask for it, I will do it. 100%.
And that's my whole thing about it. You know,
He's
when he told
laughing
me
while
that
he's saying
he has talked to the FBI, they have not come to talk to him. That if the FBI seriously thought Zach was involved, I promise you, any of those airplanes that belong to the FBI can and will fly to Jordan
Well, that's
to
true.
speak to
Yes.
him in person. And I
Of
mean that in a
course.
serious note. If they seriously believe that he was involved.
Well, they're
All
gonna
right.
send. They're gonna.
Now look, he has a gap between his teeth. So again, I'm going to look at Porch Guy and see if there's a gap. And again, this is just, you know, I'm not accusing this guy of anything. We're just going down this rabbit hole because we have to.
Send the police here to bring me to any center to us to question me. That's it.
People are asking that they want to see your wrist.
Yes,
They want to
wrist.
see your wrist. They want to make sure you have no tattoos on your wrist. What do you got? All right, there's
Got
one wrist.
hair.
Tattoos in Islam, guys, is haram. It's not. Wait, huh? I will
He's
remove my
Muslim.
watch too.
There he goes.
He did say he's
There
Muslim.
he goes. No
and I don't-
tattoo. Go the other side too. Other side. Both
Maybe
sides.
Other side.
There
This
you
is
go.
the hair. Huh? This is
I'm
my
still
hair,
watching
huh? I'm a hairy guy. Huh? Nothing. Zero.
See, Zach,
Oh,
we
no.
have a forum where people just ask questions. You know what I mean? So, you know, I feel obligated to start asking questions. You know what I mean? Like people are like, hey, make them show his make them show.
I want to
All right,
Let them ask
ask
what
you
they
a
want.
question.
Tell me,
Hey Zach, what can you tell us about the car business? Do you know these people well? Obviously, you work there, right? What do you know about them? Are they Americans or
Yes, Americans.
they're Americans?
Yes.
Do you know of any shady stuff that you've witnessed from that business? I mean, do they do? Have you ever
Shady,
witnessed stuff?
What do you mean about shady?
friends, is he?
Not just your normal, you know.
There's a
Well,
little gap
anything
there.
shady. Is it? You're a businessman, right?
Yes.
So if you're a businessman and you saw someone doing something that you wouldn't do with your business, as in that's not the way we do it, would you not call something shady?
Let me tell you something, sir. Is nothing shady. If you mean something, nothing shady about MG Motors. Everything is right. Everything is 100% right and straight. Nothing shady. The people on social media, they talk about MG Motors too. That MG Motors doing stuff 1, 2, 3. I will not say what the stuff. All these stuff is bullshit too. Okay. They just want to talk. They need to get a life. That's it. I'm telling you now on the live here. They need to get a life and get a job and work. Do something useful. Do something, guys, good for you. Do something good for your families. You only
I have
sitting
a job,
on social
and I still am
media
here.
here and there talking about MG, talking about Zach, and there's no proof. The government, they didn't say anything about MG or say.
Well, something came from somewhere. And if he has been interviewed over the phone, again, and there's just something going on. And where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm just saying. And again, I'm sure I'm grasping at straws. I have no doubt. I am the first to admit I'm all for a conspiracy theory, but it has to be, if there's something there, it has to be looked at. I've even left Annie and Tommaso on the table because you have, until this thing is solved, Joe, and this is true. The bank, the real estate company, and car dealers know what your financial situation is. Absolutely. And the thing is, you know, Joe, you've said that there could be a tie-in with Nancy buying a car at Nissan. These car guys, they go from one dealer to another. And we don't know if Savannah went in with her mother and paid outright for her Nissan or her Subaru or whatever her car was, Nissan. And car guys, tell me that car guys don't go from one car dealership to another car dealership to another car dealership. And because they're so incestuous, they all know each other after a while. Once you get in car dealerships, especially in a city like Tucson, there's only so many car dealerships. Okay. And if someone is paying cash for a car, even if they don't know who Savannah Guthrie, and they see her writing cash for a car for her mom, and then they see her name, they're running, you know, they may not have run credit. Maybe they did. I don't know. Just thinking, if she's, you know, and women are not men. Maybe Savannah ran a credit report. I don't know why, if she was paying cash. So if somebody sees Savannah paying cash for the mom, and then people in the dealership are like, yeah, that's Savannah Guthrie, she's on the Today Show. And then the car guys start talking to each other. Like I said, it's incestuous. Once you've worked at a couple dealerships, you start knowing everybody. It's like a highway system. Somebody says, hey, Savannah Guthrie, she's rich. Her mom lives here in Tucson. And here's the deal. If you are a criminal in this day and age, while this whole kidnapping thing is completely foreign, I'm naive. I'm sheltered. I'm not a criminal. I don't know anything about this. But once you're a criminal, you know that this stuff happens and it's part of your world. And you may not do it, but you know people. So who's to say that a car guy doesn't mention it to somebody and the wheels start churning? And let's just say allegedly, if Zach is involved, Zach knows he's going back to Jordan or another country or Dubai. It feels safe for him. And Porch Guy looked very comfortable. Okay, Porch Guy looked very comfortable. And if you know you're leaving in a couple days, and there could be an entire, you know, network of guys handing her off and around and, you know, putting her somewhere, and then she dies, and, you know, maybe he does feel bad because that wasn't the intention of this whole thing, was just to get money. It's hard to say. Anyway, I know I'm just going down. Let's listen to him for another couple minutes, and then I'm going to go back to Criminally Obsessed, and we're going to listen because Bill Garcia, the private investigator, claimed that he has somebody on his team who used AI to take the mask off. But I want to mention, it is odd because in the same sentence, Bill Garcia says that the team he put together has technology from the Cold War, and that's like the 80s, and it doesn't seem like there's much technology from the 80s. Okay, so let's just watch another minute of this, and then we're going to switch over to an FBI guy who's going to debunk Bill Garcia.
About anything about Zach. Maybe other people, yes, like Luke, for example. The government, they said something, okay? But did you hear the government talk about Zach? To be honest. Anything. Did you hear the sheriff came out and say anything about Zach?
No, the sheriff's not going to say anything about Zach.
Did you hear the sheriff came out and talk about MG?
MG Motors. They're not going to. All right, I'm done with him because he's just going round and round. Let me switch my video, and this is your time to please subscribe and turn on that little bell. Please turn on the bell. Okay, share this guy. All right. This is about 16, 17 minutes. We're probably not going to watch the whole thing. I don't want to bore everyone to death, but I do want to hear. I haven't watched this. I don't watch a lot of these videos or read these articles before I go live because I want to have my reactions with you guys. I don't know. I feel it's more authentic and I'm more, on the fly kind of gal. So let's just see what he has to say. Debunking Bill Garcia's fact that AI was able to demask Porch Guy.
On this right now. Now, you're the founder of and the CEO of the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases. Tell me what you work on.
So we are a DOJ-funded nonprofit. This actually came out of work, believe it or not, started years ago out of the intelligence community. It's the use of AI. It's the use of technology, structured prompts in criminal investigations, the use of what we call ad tech, all the mobile data that's collected in addition to your cell site, investigative genetic genealogy workstation. So it's called the analyst workstation. So that's what we do. So we work with law enforcement. Assumptions are killers. I work on hypothesis. It's like a science thing, right? You test it. It sounds like I'm being a geek, but look, I used to carry a gun, a Gary badge. So in the Guthrie case, the problem there is that when one theory doesn't work, we come up with another theory. Now it's the wrench attacks. Oh, she could have been the victim of these wrench attacks.
What are wrench attacks?
So wrench attacks are, we used to call it rubber hose cryptanalysis, right? If you can't get the password out of somebody, you beat them with the rubber hose, right? Then you get their passwords. They get this because they find these crypto wallets that are exposed on the dark web or that information's out there. It points to a particular person. Then they send somebody physically out there to use physical influence. To do it. That's what they call it. So basically it's like you use a wrench, a real wrench, like you use a wrench to get the password.
Got it.
You got Tony Soprano's going out going, hey,
And what do you think? Do you think this is a wrench attack?
No. Early on, I said, and here's the problem. People said it's a burglary gone wrong. I said, well, either it's a burglary gone wrong or it was never a burglary. And for a burglary to gone wrong, you have to believe that a person that went there to steal stuff from inside the house, once confronted with somebody inside the house, said it would be less risky to abduct that person and flee than it would be to just flee. So there's a lot of things that contraindicate that it's a burglary gone wrong. I haven't found anything yet to contraindicate that it's a targeted abduction, and I'll give you one piece why it goes back to the video. Everybody saw the intruder on the porch flashing the plant material and stuff, but he is comfortable being on that porch. And this goes back to the serial crime profiling. You got to look at human behavior. He's comfortable standing on that porch. He's not worried about being identified. The Ring camera was taken to avoid identifying a vehicle because a vehicle is very identifiable. It's not like it's not like putting a mask on and defeating facial recognition. So that's why I haven't seen anything yet to indicate that it was anything other than a targeted abduction, and most likely gone wrong because she's 84 years old, compromised cardiac, violent encounter at 2 a.m. That wasn't survivable.
Is AI technology software there to be able to start looking at, faces that are obscured? No.
And here's why. It's called information theory. You can't analyze what you never collected. If you put on a mask like what the intruder's wearing, and I take a picture of you, AI can't analyze what it doesn't have.
Tell me, why wouldn't a demasking technology work?
There's a case actually that came out of Germany. Interpol worked on this guy. This is a German guy. Had been distributing child pornography, I think it was. But what he'd done is he swirled his face. There's those effects on there where you can like swirl your face. Well, it didn't delete any of the pixels. So when we look at each other or we do a photograph, you have pixels. It did all the German authorities did was they did an algorithm. They said, well, let's just reverse that. So they reversed it and put the pixels back in their original place, and they got the guy's picture. The reason they could do that was because none of the pixels were destroyed or covered up. Take that on the other hand, though, is that if I take an editing program and I erase the pixels, take a picture of you, but I erase your face and I erase the pixels, then I take a screenshot of it so you can't even recover it from the original image. You're not going to recover your face. There's nothing there to recover. The other thing too, Ann, is Nest cameras, Ring cameras, they compress their video significantly because it's about bandwidth, it's about storage. So you're not getting a high resolution picture as you would if you'd used your iPhone or Android to do it.
When do you think, or will this technology get there?
No. Again, it goes back to you can't analyze what you never collected. Right. I mean, what happens is.
So what he's saying is AI. So the way AI works is that there's a bunch of robots, and they go out and it scrapes the internet of all the content on the internet, and then it puts it into this big machine, and it learns and it whatnot. He's saying if there was no data of Porch Guy without a mask, AI cannot unmask Porch Guy because there was no face to begin with. So what he's saying is they basically took the mask off and created a face, and it could look like anybody in black and white with a goatee. And I want to reiterate, Porch Guy could be Caucasian. Doesn't have to be Middle Eastern or brown. It could be a white guy. Totally could be a white guy.
Now, there was a program, and I can't think of the name, but it's where somebody said, hey, they took a blurry picture, for example, of Barack Obama. They took a blurry picture of him. They ran it through, and they said, okay, unblur it. Well, it turned him into a white guy. It did it by scanning all of these images it had and said, oh, we think this is the best guess. It did the same thing with Lucy Liu and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, those were the high profile examples. And I'm telling you, if that was the case, I would have done it. I would have done it on that first day when the video came out. The FBI would have done it.
Well, tell me, Morgan, how can new technology really help this case using the evidence that we have so far right now?
I think there's a lot of things. Look, even though we can't get the face out of this picture, there's a lot of evidence we can pull out of this picture. For example, if there was enough video, you could get gait analysis, GAIT, gait analysis. So we could start getting an idea of how this person walks. You can actually it's not scientific yet, but can narrow down people. I mean, you see some people walk differently. Some people have a skip or a hop. So you might be able to narrow it down. We can, all of the features, when they went out and measured everything. So you can do things called photogrammetry. So I know that those, blocks in the walkway there and everything, those are a fixed length. You go out and measure those. Now I can compute with extreme accuracy how tall this person is, how big of a shoe is this person wearing, and most likely how much does this person weigh. Well, then what do? I start going to things like my DMV or other stuff. Said, hey, I'm looking for all males that are 5'10" that weigh. I'm just making this up. I don't know if this is the right number, but 5'10", 165. Sure. I can now start getting a scope to do that. It could also.
I don't agree with that because who doesn't lie on the weight on their driver's license?
So potentially do enhancement of things that are in that image that we can't see very well. So it could do that. The other thing we're looking for, it's like in the Kohlberger case. When he was driving into the crime scene, he shut his phone off, committed the murders, came back out, turned his phone back on. Well, that is an abnormal behavior because I don't drive down the road and then just randomly decide to shut off my phone. So there's two things you get there. There's cell site location information, and then there's this thing called ad tech. Every app you put on your phone provides data. That data goes back to the owner of the app. They sell it to aggregators, perfectly legal. Those are the tools I think that where we're going to get the biggest breakthrough. There's so many things about this case. The problem is though, Ann, humans have two types of thinking, type 1 or system 1 and system 2. System 1 is built on heuristics. Give me a shortcut. I need the story to make sense. You've been in the news business for a long time. People, hey, help me make sense out of this. System 2 is the tougher thinking. That's where you have to take longer. It's more of a cognitive load. Sometimes people want, what's the punchline? Give me the punchline. Well, you can't get to the punchline yet. Sometimes the answer is, I don't know. So I think that's kind of bring it all back in. That's kind of where we're at. There's a lot of unknowns in this Guthrie case.
I get a lot of questions on our show about the ransom notes. Do you think that these were total red herrings, or do you believe that there was a kidnapper, an abductor who actually used a ransom note at all?
I don't have any inside information. So I'm going like with you, but I think that all of these ransom communications, there's a term for it, but it's called parasitic communications. I haven't seen anything that rise to an evidentiary level to say, yes, this is a valid ransom communication. Because if you really want to do a ransom, the last thing you do is you blast it out to TMZ, which ensures that the entire world's going to know about it. You don't want, most of these things, you don't want law enforcement involved. You don't want this, but they blasted it out to TMZ. Somebody got their 15 minutes of fame. For it to be a valid ransom communication, you have to have normally two things. You have to have a demand, which they did, but you have to have a way of contacting. Simply doing a one-way communication, blasting it out with no way to get back, that makes it very difficult to engage in negotiations. This whole thing about the cartel being involved, this is not their model. Their model is they like express kidnappings. I can take you somewhere, go to an ATM, get money, or I want your money. They're not into this long-term, let's negotiate, let's get visibility. So with the ransom communications, all I would say is I haven't seen anything yet that's publicly available that gives any credibility to these communications being other than opportunistic and parasitic.
Do you have a theory on the Guthrie case right now?
No. I mean, again, and I don't want to, I have a hypothesis. And so if they test that, you can test it wrong. But for me, my main working hypothesis now, it was a targeted abduction.
Yes.
But it was a targeted abduction that went wrong.
Yes, but why?
For a variety of reasons, right? 84 years old, needs medication, violent confrontation.
Obvious.
We know she's bleeding. When I was down there, I said, you got to say the quiet part out loud, which is you need to work this as a no-body homicide. You can't work this as it's no longer a missing person, not in her condition, because it fundamentally changes the message you give to them. So but the question comes in, so where's Nancy, right? So I actually went out and walked that area, because anytime you do no-body homicides, you're also looking for clandestine graves. So you got three types of grave sites, basically: open grave sites, clandestine graves, or concealed. Like I put a body in a building or something. Well, nobody's taking the time to stop to dig a hole, because that is hard pack out there in Tucson in the hills there.
They're gonna just dump
So the
her.
question is, was it concealed? Was it open? If it was open, most likely, I think somebody would have found it by now.
Why do people believe that this investigation is at a standstill right now?
I think from a forensic standpoint, anytime you have a hair that doesn't have a root on it, then the ability to do DNA analysis on it and put it into CODIS, the combined DNA index system. So to put it into CODIS, they have to have these things called 20 short tandem repeat markers, 20 STRs, 13 for a partial. If they don't have that, you can't really put it into CODIS. If you have below 13, you can't put it into CODIS, because then you end up matching tons of things. So it's really not very good. Parabon, which actually is in the county over here next to me, over in Fairfax County, they do this composite snapshot. So they can take DNA and recreate a face out of this. This actually happened in the Brittany Phillips case out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did that case last week on my Crime Reconstructed podcast, but they had DNA. Didn't test it for 15 years, but they sent it to Parabon. Now, did it match a guy? Yeah. The only problem was the guy was with one of her girlfriends, the other bedroom. That's where the DNA, the semen and the blood came from, not from her attacker. So for 16 years, they were going, oh, this DNA, this semen belongs to the attacker. It didn't. It belonged to the boyfriend of her friend that were in another bedroom. But Parabon, but the composites they can create out of these snapshots, what they call them, eerie. So, I mean, but we are still a ways away from that, because if the DNA is convoluted, then you have to deconvolute it. And even that stuff hasn't been approved for use in federal court yet. It doesn't meet the evidentiary standards.
What do you think is next for this case?
You were just talking about, I think, right when we started, you're talking about one of the cases you're going to cover is Rex Sherman, Gilgo Beach, right? I was doing a once a month, I do a thing called Saturday Rant, but we were talking about cases, and I talked about this case, and it was basically what solved this time. People said DNA solved it. I said, no, DNA didn't solve it. The creation of a task force solved it. That went back to the original lead that found the Chevy Avalanche led to the identification of Rex Sherman.
They need to, and somebody has mentioned this, Chris McDonough from the interview room said they need to go back and they need to reread the first 300 pages of the reports because the suspect is there.
Led to then getting the DNA sample. That's what solved the case, is a task force approach, a true task force approach. It's like working a cold case. I've got one down here that's this thick.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it
takes a long time to go back and look through this stuff. But what you do is, I don't want to talk to any of the prior investigators. Come in, fresh eyes, fresh face, no preconceived notions about what you believe or what you think. No such thing as a smoking gun. But I think a task force approach, bringing this stuff back together and start from square one. A lot of smart people in the original investigation, but because it was fragmented, that lead on the Chevy Avalanche got taken and it got buried. It never got followed up. When they did the task force, they went back to square one. Somebody followed through on that Chevy Avalanche. And now we've got sentencing for Rex Sherman. As a result, DNA identified Rex Sherman, but what really broke the case open was the lead on the Chevy Avalanche.
I completely agree with you.
Everybody says, well, it's because of Savannah. It's because nobody knows. We don't know. And there's only one person that knows right now, and it's the person who committed this offense. But what we can look from that is go, if Nancy passed away, she died shortly after this, you have no leverage. You have no targeted abduction anymore. You have a body problem. So the risk of driving around with somebody in your vehicle increases. It's like serial killers. It's called geographic profiling. You get this thing called distance decay. They only go out so far where they say, the risk is too great to take this body out anymore. This is as far as I go. And from that, you can start figuring out, okay, well, where's their circle?
I hadn't thought of that. So what he's saying is there's risk decay, where you're going to figure out, if you've got a dead body in the back of your car and you're driving, how far can I safely go without risking myself getting stopped with a dead body, finding the first place you can and then dumping it. So this is brilliant. So there probably is a circumference
of life, their home, their work. So in this case, I'd look at, you're going to be looking at a major thoroughfare. Somebody might say, well, it's only like an hour to get to the Mexican border. That's true. But what you do is you run the risk coming across the border of having a body in your car.
In the car.
So was it done before that? Then you start looking at, there's a lot of studies done, Ann, that show with people who dump bodies off interstates or off of roads, how far out do they go? It's usually about 3/4 of a mile is kind of that distance decay too. So I would start looking at major roads, and I'd go 3/4 up to a mile in each direction on each side of it. And I'd start kind of doing that as a grid search on all of these potential egress routes out of there to say, if somebody was going to do that, if they get stopped, they don't want to have a dead body in their car. So what do? You get rid of it as soon as possible, drive off a road somewhere, conceal it, and then get back on the road.
With all of the people you've spoken to on this case already, do you feel like that's what law enforcement has done? Have they done that grid search that's right off of the Guthrie property, 3/4 of a mile?
Yeah, actually, when I was flying down to Tucson, one of my friends and I, we developed the requirements for a Bluetooth scanner with an omnidirectional antenna. We built it onto a drone, and so you could scan for the low Bluetooth signal. But so the FBI started doing it too. Actually, the team there was working with the FBI directly to do that. So they've searched thoroughly the area around Nancy. What I'm saying is that you look at, there's five ways to get out of that neighborhood. When I was doing my analysis, 5 major ways to get out of it. I would take those 5 major routes once you get to like 5 miles out. And I would look at those routes going in all those directions, and I would go up to a mile on each side. Look, where the neighborhood is, it looks like a bowl of spaghetti. Somebody dumped a bowl of spaghetti all those roads. But there's only 5 major ways out to get there, to get to major arteries. That's where I would start doing my work, is I'd start saying, okay, let's take this radius. Let's start taking this route, divide them into routes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and start working grids. I don't know that they've done that. I think they've done a comprehensive search around the property, which they should. I just don't know how far out they've gone. I haven't seen anything to indicate.
So this is really interesting. And so what he's saying is they need to find the 5 different routes out of the neighborhood and, probably off the freeway there, and then do that 3/4 of a mile. And he's talking about putting that signal sniffer on a drone, because guess what, guys? You know what's really freaking creepy? Her freaking pacemaker is still going. Her pacemaker is still going, and it still has a Bluetooth signal. That is what is so creepy. Okay, I am going to end this here. And I thank you so much for sitting through all of this. I hope that you enjoy going down the technical rabbit holes like I do. I really like learning. I like hearing the science. The pacemaker. So her pacemaker, so after people die, the pacemaker keeps going. And so shortly after she went missing, they're able to put a device on the bottom of a drone that basically can connect to, and her pacemaker has a Bluetooth. They know it connected to her watch, her iWatch, and her phone. So they literally had drones flying over the area that was trying to, they call them signal sniffers, where it can connect to her pacemaker. And so what this FBI guy is saying is that they have stats on where somebody, if they have a dead body in their vehicle, they have stats on about how far they're going to go before they get scared that they're going to get pulled over by the cops. And then typically off a major road, they'll go 3/4 of a mile and they'll dump the body, probably won't bury it, and they'll just leave. And so what he's saying is a thorough search of the area with a drone that has a signal sniffer on it. You can fly it over the area and it will connect to her pacemaker. Even if she's dead, if she's skeletonized, that pacemaker will still be there. And so that's really the beacon that they need to find. Even if they can't get eyes on her remains at this point, that beacon is still there. And so this guy's really smart. Really, really smart. And yeah, I mean, anything could have happened to the pacemaker, but chances are that pacemaker is still out there. It's like Timex. It keeps on ticking. Okay. Which is super creepy. But anyway. All right. If you guys have not, if you have not already subscribed, please do. Please subscribe and hit the bell to notify you when I go live. I don't want super stickers. I don't want members or anything like that. I just want you guys to watch and, you know, and talk in the chat. I really enjoy. I read all of your comments after the show. I read all your chats. I read all your comments, because this is a mystery that we're all trying to solve, and a lot of you are trying to solve it with me. So I appreciate all of your feedback and your interaction. So again, please subscribe and hit that bell. And until next time, I will catch you on the flip side. Toodaloo.